Chrissy, give me a little backstory of who you are before we get started with this podcast, even though this is the end.
Sure. I'm Chrissy Guevara. I work with V Digital Services. We're a national agency and we specialize in helping both small and medium businesses and then also in the franchise and multi-location space because they're so super connected. My background, I actually started out selling newspaper ads about my gosh, too many years ago. And that's how I kind of learned my
Newspaper.
way. Newspaper
Yeah.
ads, yeah. I learned how to work with small businesses to get measurable results, right? And then over time, we were doing coupons and like call tracking numbers and all of that sort of a thing to track
Yeah.
results. And over time, we saw that more and more things were shifting to online. And so I was in the first line of defense of, making that transition from how
Yeah.
small businesses advertised from the way things used to always work into this new and digital age. And so I've really grown up with it. And, it's my heart is to make sure that I stay super relevant for independent owners and then also
Yeah.
grow my skills to be able to help big brands too.
Local SEO, what these stores can be doing to boost their SEO. I hear a lot about SEO. It's really important for your content. And the thing I'm the best at is making the content, right? Then my secondary is running Facebook and Instagram ads, which we've released a lot of content about. And then way in the back is what I should be doing for Google SEO and Google AdWords and all that stuff. So I guess that's where we start, right? I hear people say all the time, you should be making content and your content helps you. But how does my content help me in local SEO?
Well, it's a really great question. And I think that it kind of points to a little bit of a misunderstanding about, or maybe not a misunderstanding, but like understanding the bigger picture and the fact that Google really wants that content. Really, Google is trying to game a system. And then everyone who's doing SEO is trying to game a system. And really, it's
Yeah,
all kind of the same thing. If you're producing content that is useful and helpful to the end user, that is exactly what Google wants,
okay.
right? Google wants to deliver the information that people need to make good decisions. And they're just trying to figure it out, right? They're kind of looking at the internet through their robot eyes and being like, okay, what is most useful? How do I get useful information to my end user? Because the more useful Google can be, the more
Yeah.
consumers will like them. If consumers start to see Google as a way, as like a gamed system and like I don't ever get the results that I want off Google,
Yeah.
they actually drift away and they'll start looking at other search engines. So in order to really satisfy Google's customers, they need to put that most useful content out there. So ultimately, really long story and lots of details short is like the better
Yeah.
content and the better user experience you can offer, the more Google will eventually like you. It may take them a while to catch up on it, but at the same
Yeah.
time, the more they will ultimately like you.
So let's trickle down from there, right? So I mean, I don't know how much or how extensively you've done anything in the electronic repair industry before, but like, give me an example. Does that mean I should be posting YouTube videos? Should I be posting YouTube shorts? Should I be posting in Google My Business? I think that I can come up with content ideas, but
Mhm.
it's like, where do we post it? Where is it going to bring the most bang for the buck?
Sure, and that's always like that's the marketer's like dream question, right? Like, and
Yeah.
really all I can say there is testing and testing and testing, right? Like
Okay.
it has to be something that people are looking for, and then it has to be something that people find interesting. So
Okay.
yeah, shorts are great. They're a great way to get brand exposure. Social media is a great way to get brand exposure, but ultimately in your industry, it's really interesting because people don't need it until they need it. No one's
Yeah.
out there researching like how do you fix a broken phone until they get to the point where they're like, oh crap, my phone's broken.
Yeah.
It's so need based, so emergency situation that
Yeah.
there is a level of brand awareness that you need because you want to be that trusted brand when someone does that search, they're going to have only a couple of choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to be in those choices and then you have to be the one that they choose because they've heard of you before.
Yeah. So one thing, and then you can tell me if this is correct or incorrect, but one thing I tell my franchise partners all the time is like, a lot of them, especially back in the day when I just got brought on, they were posting content like on their Instagram and it was all, oh, deal, 20% off, 20% off, 20% off. And what I say is like, you want to get away from that, right? Because number one is no one is ever going to follow you. It's hard enough to get people to follow us. But number two is if somebody does end up getting to our platform, to our content, you want them to like it just should uplift the brand, right? So if you're posting videos of like let's say for instance, an iPhone 11, right? And this is what I try to tell them all the time is if you have somebody come in your store and their phone looks jacked up. I mean like it looks unrepairable and then you fix it. I tell them like that is a great piece of content because all you have to do is show that it's broken and then it's fixed and then if somebody does happen to find it, then that way they trust you more. They're like, okay, my phone's got a few cracks. If I bring it to Techie, then they'll for sure be able to fix it. Because look what they did with this iPhone 11. But with that being said, is there anything I can do to help that content? Does hashtags help me get found on SEO? Does paying for ads behind it? Is there any way that I can get like, I mean, again, what's the most bang for the buck I can get on the piece of content I create?
Okay, lots of questions there.
We're going deep. I told you I don't know much about SEO and like I want to know more. And
Yep,
like to be honest, for me, I'm always immersed in like e-commerce and people ask me e-commerce questions all day long and like what's going on with Facebook ads, what's going on with Instagram ads, and I'm like, "Oh, there's this new update. This is what you should be doing, mess your campaign." And then they're like, "Oh, SEO." And I go, yeah, I just kind of slide away because when I got brought on to Techie, my background is in e-commerce. I've run Facebook ads before. I had profitable campaigns, and I never even thought of SEO. And here I am with an SEO like driven company. So
sure.
I'll let you take it over here.
So when it comes to SEO, right, there's a couple of different things, right? There is
Okay.
very much a user oriented side. And that's kind of what we were talking about with the content, right? It's got to be user focused content. It's got to answer the questions that they're looking for. And then there's the technical side of SEO. So when we talk about SEO, it's kind of hard to separate the two because they do go together. You could have the best content in the world, but if you don't have it aligned technically, no one's going to find it. It's the
Yes.
classic tree falling in the forest and no one can hear it,
No,
right?
here's it. Yeah.
So it definitely all works together. And really all of your marketing, SEO is just another piece of the puzzle, right? So it all has to kind of work together and everything that you do. So do hashtags help you get found on SEO? No. Do hashtags help you get in front of people on your social media so that there's
Yeah.
more demand for your brand? Absolutely. Does that help your SEO? Yes. If there's more
Okay.
search traffic for you, then you're going to show up more often and you're going to get more organic traffic. But to kind of come around to, when it comes down to most bang for your buck, as far as in an SEO perspective, the absolute most important thing that you and your franchise partners can do to help your visibility is optimize your Google business profile.
Okay.
Okay. Everything on Facebook,
GMB.
G,
I
GBP,
Yeah,
actually.
because it's changed, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
it used to be GMB, and there's a lot of resources out there about how to optimize your GMB, but
Yeah.
officially Google changed the name, so it's Google
Yeah.
Business Profile now.
Okay. I knew
Um,
that, but just
yep,
everywhere I look, everything I see is GMB, GMB. You got to be
yep.
posting on my GMB. And when I first got brought in, I was like, "What is GMB?" Oh, and then I realized. But okay, perfect.
All habits
So
die hard on the internet for sure.
yeah, so to be honest with you, I had a call with a guy the other day, and his business is called Boost My Repair. And he actually only well, he does digital marketing services for the electronic repair industry, right? And of course, his main thing is SEO. And he was talking about how he has a free trial, and he posts three, I think it was either pictures or videos inside of their GMB. So being active in your GMB, I imagine, is incredibly important.
Incredibly important.
And I'm posting videos there and pictures.
I'm posting videos, I'm posting pictures, I'm adding written content, you
Oh,
know,
written content.
you
I'm putting that in my notes because
because you said it's all about, keywords are the easiest thing for Google to find, right? But
yeah,
yes, there's you want to it's a top to bottom 100%
yeah,
make sure your Google business profile is accurate and touched on a regular basis. Like
Okay.
if I could tell each of your franchises one thing to really
Yeah.
embrace and to get on their phone and make sure they know how to do it, it is their Google business profile. Treat it
Okay.
more for your industry, which again is need
Yeah.
based, is locality based, right? Like
Yeah.
people don't want to go get their phone fixed across
Nope.
town. Like I'm on
Nope.
one side of Sarasota, and Sarasota's not that big. It's like 10 miles wide, right? But I'm
Yeah.
not driving the other side of Sarasota to
Yep.
get my
No,
fixed.
I
So
get
I
it.
need one
Yeah.
hyper local. It's location based, so it favors people that are in your tight radius.
Yeah.
And if they can find you, it is 100% the best and most important thing that you can do.
Okay. So being active. So I think that little tip right there is gonna really help us because I know that we're not. And the other thing that's bad about it too is that we have so much content. I have so much content in our Google Drive that people could just be using because it's all techie branded. It's not like it even has the front store. It's literally like the device being worked on or a fun fact about the device or something along those lines. So that is a huge tip for everybody. Now, I don't want to make this go for 5 hours because I know I can pick your brain for that long. So I want to tell you something. I want to go to the next step here. So you mentioned keywords, and there was a guy that was in our office the other day, and he had 8 repair shops already, and now he's picking up techie stores. So of course I had to ask him, you have 8 stores. How do you get customers? What's your main customer acquisition channel? And he said to me, all I do is focus on Google reviews. So in terms of Google reviews, right? If I am getting Google reviews every day and I'm posting on Google My Business, am I going to be just like a superpower in the area because most people aren't doing it? A lot of our stores have they especially when they open, they get a ton of Google reviews and then it kind of just falls off a little bit. They don't take it as serious. So is getting reviews constantly, posting in my Google My Business, is that going to be a huge help for my local SEO?
Absolutely. It's actually included in my concept of like pouring into your Google business profile
Yeah.
includes reviews, right?
Okay.
Like it's not, they are not separate. They are one and the same. So you
Okay.
need to have an active plan to get reviews. You need to ask every single customer, follow
Yeah.
up with text for every single customer. And Google really looks at that review. They look at review quality, review quantity, and review velocity. So if they see one business has more recent reviews, that
Yeah.
is automatically a more relevant option than someone who
Really?
doesn't have any reviews for the last 3 months. Yes.
Okay. Now, do you have like so I know a big part of it is if like and this is what the guy said too. He said if a customer comes in and gets an iPhone 11 repaired, it's really important to try to get him to mention my iPhone 11 repair at Techie was fantastic, right? Do you have any tips on how to get people to write about that in their Google review?
I guess it's mostly about connecting with the customer, right?
Okay.
Again,
Yeah.
what Google's really looking for is people who are genuinely interested in helping and working with their
Yeah.
customers, right? So if you're having that connection with your customer and you ask them to leave you a review personally, not just the text follow up. The text follow
Yeah.
up is to make it easy, but you want to have that communication with them and tell them how important it is to the business
Yeah.
that they're detailed, that they leave a really great and detailed review. Please post pictures of
Oh
your
yeah.
end product on it. Those sorts of things are really helpful. And if they sense that you're having those genuine interactions with your customers and your customers really care because they want you to succeed, then that's what they're essentially
Yeah.
looking for. I mean, it feels a
Yeah.
little warm and fuzzy when I say it like that, but at the
No,
same
it
time,
really does though. It does. Yeah.
but that's what Google wants. Google wants people to be really satisfied with the places that they find through Google.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And do you have like so we of course have like our QR code scan to leave a
Mhm.
Google review. Do you have any tools that you suggest to get Google reviews?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely tools. There's a lot of tools out there that help with Google getting Google reviews to do drip campaigns, either via email or text. I
Yeah.
definitely recommend, engaging with something that on if not at at the franchisor level, then at the franchisees, let them kind of find the tools that work best for them. But
Yeah.
there's some really great ones that incorporate right with your CRM. So as you put a client in, you send them their
Yeah.
receipt, it like follows up with
Instantly.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We definitely
like
have one
that's
of those.
definitely useful. I think really the best thing to do is to make sure your staff is all fully engaged, right? And
Yeah.
that they all understand, incentivize the staff if need be, all of that sort of a thing. And even if I want to say too, even if you can't seem to get your clients to like really put the details in there, you have the opportunity to do that when you reply to those reviews.
Oh, big hack.
Every single review should be replied to, good or bad, with as much
Yeah.
detail as possible, as without, making it uncomfortable for the user,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But like if someone puts on like, hey, Techie did a great job, and you see their name and you know what you did for them, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. The owner needs to be involved, right? The owner sees, okay, Chrissy left me a 5-star review and didn't really say anything. You just respond like, hey, Chrissy, thanks for leaving the stars. We're so glad we were able to help you with your iPhone 6.
Oh, that's a huge hack. Yeah, we're definitely not doing any of that. So that's going to make a huge difference. I didn't even think about that. So that's fantastic. So what about, so that's kind of our Google reviews. I'm going over my notes here. So we went over content creation. We went over some of the things. So here's one thing I want to get into. Techie owns the website for everybody. So
Right.
once somebody gets brought in, and once somebody gets brought in, when they make when so like let's say Techie Naples, right? Techie Naples, their website is just techiecompany.com. It's not their own individual. Is that helping us or is that hurting us, in your opinion?
Oh, great. Okay, good question. So helping, generally speaking, if it's done correctly.
Okay.
Obviously, there's a right way and a wrong way to do anything. If you do
Yeah.
anything the wrong way, it's going to hurt, right? So
Yeah.
the way multi-location is really interesting and is one of our specialties. And it's really it's a fun space to be in because there are a lot of different kind of opinions about it. And
Okay.
there are still franchises that do it the old way where like every there's a, with techysarasota.com or techie
Yeah.
whatever.com, right? Like there
Yeah.
are some that do it that way, but really the better way is to build one strong national website
Okay.
with very strong location pages for every single location.
Okay.
And when I say strong location pages, so I'm sure on Techie there's a Techie Naples
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
landing page, right? You go to the
Yeah.
search location, oh, I'm in Naples. It brings me to a page, and this page has everything I need to know about Naples, their hours,
Yeah.
their maybe a picture
Yeah.
of their store, things like that. The strongest location pages are going to be ones that are kind of treated like their own little website, but it's
Okay.
housed on the main domain,
Okay.
right?
I
So
see
it's
where you're
going to
going with this.
be
Yeah.
techie company, .com
Yeah.
slash Naples, right?
Yeah.
And having that as that business's URL, but treating it like it's their own. So putting as much information on there, building out sub pages, right? So you talk about different products, you talk about different
Yeah.
services. Maybe there's even like a blog or an about the owner section. How is
And that's
that?
inside of the page inside of techiecompany.com, but under techiecompany.com / like Naples.
Right. So they get to
Okay.
treat that their own little page like it's their
Yeah.
website, right?
Do you,
Um,
is there like is there I'm honestly I'm drawing a blank on where our website sits, but is there a website builder that has that feature like built in already where there's individual pages and you can go in like SEO optimized? Does that exist?
yeah, I mean, there's different platforms. There's some people that have like proprietary ones. We build ours mostly on WordPress. That works
Okay.
up to a certain level because you can build each location out as like a
Yeah.
sub, like a child
Yeah.
of parent kind of
Yeah.
a thing. So there's lots of different ways to skin a cat, so to speak,
Yeah.
on there.
Of
But
course.
but really making sure that the information is correct and matches the Google business profile.
Yeah.
Finding out a way to
Super
pull in
important.
the reviews from the Google business profile and have those
Yeah.
displayed on the page, embedding a map, putting the
Yeah.
schema in place for that location. All of those things are really important. They're tiny details, but
Yeah.
they help in the big scheme of things. And the point of that is that you get your national domain, right? Your national brand domain. It's it's like like the rising tide, you've heard the rising tide floats all boats, that kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
The more domain authority your national brand has, the
yeah.
easier it is for all of the locations to rank even when they're new.
That's very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, so to be honest with you, I think what I would love for our next call to be is if we could, I mean, full transparency, all honesty, go through our main campaign or our main website, and you just kind of pick out what's wrong, if they're what's right, whatever's going on there. And then, like I said, I would love to present that to Bill and Tim as like, hey, this is what we're doing wrong. Because just like you just said, if we're spending the money at the corporate level and creating this powerhouse of an SEO website, it's only going to trickle down into our stores and just make it easier and easier for our stores. So I think that'll be our next call if I haven't taken too much information or grabbed too much for you on our first one. But I just want to
I
talk
could talk
about
about this
one
stuff
more
all
thing.
day.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's the same thing for me with like with Facebook ads. Somebody called me the other day, one of my friends, and I look at the phone when we're done. It's like, oh, 45 minutes. Like, oh my God, I've got other things to do. I can't be spending 45 minutes on the phone. But one other thing I want to talk to you about is keyword strategy, right? So where every market is a little bit different. So if I'm a brand new store owner, right, and I just opened my doors and I want to know what I should be focusing on the most, am I going to go into the keyword planner and just kind of see what's active? What are your suggestions there? What am I trying to focus on when it comes to keyword strategy? What am I going to try to push in my Google reviews? What am I going to try to talk about as much as possible in my Google review? And where can I learn what's the most pop-in repairs right now?
Such a great question. And as in, if with every good question in SEO, the answer is it depends, right? But I
I'm learning this. Yeah, I'm glad. So whenever anybody asks me any questions, I could say, depends. This way, this way, this way. I give them 8 different options, and then I can just do gone.
but I think it's actually, I'm going to take a step back because I think this is a really good point to talk about like the partnership between franchisor and franchisee, right? Because it's a really good place to like to talk about what that needs to look like, right? It has to be a partnership, right?
Yeah,
Techie has Techie company, you guys have a lot of data, you have a lot of history, you have a lot of
yeah,
experience in the field in a broad sense, right? Like you said,
yeah,
it's different for every market, but really you can look over the whole, all of your stores and you can say, okay, of all the stores that I have, these are my most repaired items, right? Like
yeah,
on average, you give them a short list. These are the things that you really need to focus on and go after. And I mean, a short list, you're probably going to give them like, I don't know, 20, 15, something like that of
yeah.
like, of the types of things that they should be going after in a
Okay.
broad sense and in a specific sense, right? And that, because that goes
Yeah,
from like mobile phone repair, cracked screen repair, also iPhone 11 repair, right? So it's like
yeah,
there's going to be it's a big mix of things, but
yeah,
each franchisor needs to take responsibility. Not sorry, not franchise. Each franchise partner needs to take
yeah,
responsibility for understanding their particular market and doing a little bit of research and adapting as you go. Like
yeah.
the what comes out of the box when you open the doors and like this is the best practices is not going to be your best
Yep.
practice after 6 months of business.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to adapt, you have to stay engaged, and you have to be resourceful. You're still a
Yeah.
business owner,
Yeah.
right? Like you have bought into a system and they're here to get you started,
Yep.
but
Exactly.
everything else comes through your own like grit
The
and
nitty
making it
gritty,
happen.
100%. So, but now, am I going into the key? Like, I've done some research on this before. Am I going to go into the Google Keyword Planner or with the keyword research tool every month and just kind of like type in and see what's most clicked? Or like, is that how I'm going to do my research and try to stay up to date with it? Or am I just going to see, okay, you know what? I did 20 iPhone 11s this month. 10 Samsung Galaxies. I'm just going to keep trying to get as many reviews for those iPhones as possible.
Mhm. It's, and it's a balance. So I like to use Google Trends because
Google
feel like
Trends.
it gives me a big like kind of a bigger picture kind of thing, and I can look and see like, are people looking for mobile phone repair? Are people looking for game
Yeah.
console repair? Are people looking for tablet
Yeah.
repair? Right, and you can get an idea on the overall search volume in your area.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more, I think, user friendly for like a business for a business owner than getting into keyword planner and having an ads account and all of that stuff that's involved
Yeah.
in there. even though that
100%.
information is going to be a little bit more granular. I feel like the Google Trends gives you a really good idea on the overarching kind of volume that we're looking
Yeah,
for.
absolutely.
Beyond that, there becomes an issue of what's more profitable for you, what's kind of volume you need as a business. If there's
Yeah,
something that you only make $10 on every single time, and you have to do a bunch of them, like you may not want to focus on that,
yeah,
but you might if you need to keep your people busy. So it
yeah.
really is kind of context dependent. Do you have to do it every month? No. I would say maybe like set yourself a quarterly, or
Okay.
maybe every 6 months, do a little bit of research and see if there's been any shifts in the market. Because that's what you're
Yeah,
looking for, is are there shifts in the market? Otherwise, anytime you take an initiative and be like, I want to be the number one spot for cell phone repair, or
yeah,
I mean that's a big ambitious one, but like,
yeah,
PlayStation repair in my area or something like that.
yeah,
You need to start that initiative, and you have to like really let it go for a while. You're
yeah.
not going to see any changes on it for 4 to 6 months anyway.
That's
So
that has been my biggest thing about SEO. It's like for Facebook ads, I have a campaign going right now that I set up 3 days ago, and I'm getting leads at like $5 a lead. People want their devices. We're gonna buy them back, and it's like SEO. It's like, oh, do it and then wait 90 days and hope that needle goes doop in the right direction in those 90 days. So that's been the craziest thing about SEO, is like, it's do it and wait 90 days. And I think that's the hardest thing for all the franchise partners, where it's like, I'm spending my time, I'm spending all this like, effort doing these things. I don't see any results from it. So they do it for maybe a week. And we've all been there before. A gym routine that started for a week and then it falls off because you're like, oh, I haven't lost the 15 pounds. But I think that's the biggest thing to convey is, everything SEO takes time. So
it's true.
that's been something that we have to get to all of our people, and I think showing them the trends of where everything is going, and I'll kind of make a video on how to look at trends and how to use the Google Trends after we're done with this. But I don't want to go too much longer. I want to keep it relatively short. We're already at the 30-minute mark, and there's been a ton of value already. The last thing I want to do is sit here and talk for 2 hours, because no one is going to watch a 2-hour podcast. Not to say anything about how I look or how you look on a Friday at 9 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning. But you have been incredibly helpful. Thank you for taking the time. Like I said, I'm going to show this to my COO, and the CEO and the VP of operations actually just walk through and just show that you know exactly what you're doing. I would love to schedule another call. Maybe it doesn't get recorded and posted to all of our people, and we just go over, what you think could be happening on techycompany.com. Because just like you said, I just got to call that. I had to ignore that real quick. Just like you said, it raises all tides, right? So if we can uplift our SEO, and we've had some issues with it before, if we can just boost that up as much as possible and be a lean mean fight machine. Because like right now, to be honest with you, there's actually a lot of opportunity in electronic repair industry, because one of our big, I mean, I imagine, you break, I fix, they're closing a lot of their stores. They made a big switch to only doing warranty stuff for Assurion, because Assurion bought them, so they're closing a lot of their stores. So it's mom and pop shops that you can't really, that people don't really trust, and Techie's kind of the big name right there.
Yeah.
So I would love to put you, or at least some of your content, in front of my bosses and see what they have to say, and see if they want to make a call. But so what's gonna happen is I'm gonna hit stop recording. So now.